Hello there everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am here with my weekly update. So much to talk about today. Not really all that surprising, but maybe a little bit, maybe even a little bit more than usual, because I'm going to keep track of the time, but the goal is to tack on a tag at the end of this video, because I am far behind on the tags. I don't think that honestly I will be able to ever keep up with all of the tags. People are putting out tags a lot, and I just can't keep up with them, but I am going to do a few of them. And so the goal today is to try to do one of them. I'm going to do the stitching style tag, which was originated by Reid. Hey Pam. I also have my shout outs, WIP reviews. I have some talking to do about the August ABC's stitch along stuff, and then sort of some life things. So I guess I'll do the life things first, just sort of get it out of the way. So I had an interview earlier this week on Wednesday, and it was like a long interview. I think I was there for 9 hours or something insane like that, and I got the job. But what that's going to mean is a bit of a change in my recording schedule. I don't start until near the end of September, so we have a few weeks until then. But basically my schedule is going to change from working evenings to working like a normal 8 to 5 sort of a schedule. And so that means that I won't be able to record in the middle of a Monday like I am right now. So recording, I think, is going to be a little bit invariable. Or a little bit variable rather, for a little while, because, you know, work stuff. I'm not really sure what sort of recording time I'm going to have once I get home from work. All of that will be sorted out in due time. I'm thinking that I might be able to try to record on the weekends. If I can get my stuff together and get my office organized, I think that I can record in there on the weekends, even if Danny's home. And since I will now have the weekends off, you know, I'll have those 2 days available to me. So we're just kind of gonna go by the seat of our pants and see what happens. So that's that. Other things. Oh, I also won't be recording on Monday, Labor Day. And that is because Virginia Tech is playing their season opener, first home game. Big deal. If you're into college football, then you know that this game is coming. We're playing Ohio State at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, and I will be there. College Game Day on ESPN is going to be in Blacksburg, so if I can make it happen, I might try to, I don't know, sneak on camera or something. Who knows? I'd really like to be there when Corso does his, you know, he puts on the mascot's head and chooses whichever team he thinks is going to win. I'd like to be there for that, but I'm making no promises. Yeah, go Hokies. So basically what that means is that I won't be recording that Monday. We're going to be out of town for a few days for the game there, so we'll just have to see what happens. But that's not for another, I guess, 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for football season, but, you know. Anyway, so this, as it turns out, is a channel that talks about cross-stitch, so I guess we should probably talk about cross-stitch, yeah? Okay. So first things first, I want to do my FlossTuber shout-out. I am shouting out somebody who was one of the originals. She was recording videos about cross-stitch before FlossTube was even a thing, before it was even named. And that just sort of surprises me, because she does not have the subscription counts that a lot of us originals do, and it doesn't make any sense, to be totally honest. The person that I am shouting out today is Gelesko. Hi, Chelsea. She is one of the sweetest, most genuine people I've seen on FlossTube. Just the epitome of positivity and optimism. She's hilarious. She also has a little lady named Rumsey. That's her nickname. Her full name, Chelsea, forgive me, I can't remember Rumsey's full name, but Rumsey is an English bulldog, so, you know, that's my heart. Chelsea works on some beautiful things. She's a Mirabilia fanatic, just like the rest of us. She's great. I really, really like her channel, and I highly suggest you go check her out. Chelsea needs some more traffic on her channel because she deserves it. She's wonderful. So thank you, Chelsea, for being a part of our awesome community, and keep doing what you do. Okay, works in progress review. This week was so weird because I had that interview that lasted all day on Wednesday. I also worked quite a bit this week. Just a weird week. So the progress that I have on my projects is maybe not as much as it should be or as much as it could be, but we're just gonna go with it and see what happens. So got my handy dandy calendar here that I showed you all last time. All right, so Monday and Tuesday I worked on my quilts for Paula Vaughn August quilt, and I'm just going to show you real quickly what it's supposed to look like when it's done. Nope, clear. There we go. So that's the August quilt with the poppies and whatnot. And so I worked on this on Monday and Tuesday. I'm just going to move my calendar here. I guess that needs to go over there. Sorry, y'all. I thought I had everything organized, but you know, best laid plans. And so the progress you're going to see here, not much compared to what I showed you last week. I did very little on Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday, I don't even know why I didn't stitch much on Tuesday, but I really didn't. So basically what I did on Tuesday is I started filling in the shutter there. Now this is the very top of the pattern, as I talked about last time, and this is one of the green shutters. And so I was just working on filling in the slats there. That's really all I did. I love this piece already. I know it's early to be saying that, but I really do love this piece, and I can't wait for it to come back on my rotation, which should be sometime in September. So yeah, loving that. Okay, full disclosure, y'all. I am getting some sort of a cold thing. I might have a wisdom tooth cutting in, and so my voice is a little scratchy, so I'll be referring to the orange juice quite often. Okay. Okay, now Wednesday, again, the day of the crazy long interview. I was to work on Joan Elliott's bathroom humor, and this project was also, this was a 2-day project, so Wednesday and Thursday. And so Wednesday, I got hardly anything done. But Thursday, I was able to get a considerable amount done. So what I did this week, on Wednesday, Danny, when I got home from my interview, Danny was like, go stitch, you need some time. And I was like, I love you, it's wonderful. So all I got done on Wednesday before I passed out was her blue bandana there, and the little bit of hair that you see peeking out over the bandana. And then on Thursday, I got her face done, which she looks really creepy right now because the features of her face are backstitch and French knots. And I'm not doing that until the end. So she looks a little bit creepy, but that's okay. And then I also did her jeans and her shoes there. And then the very start of the tiling, and that goes all the way around the whole piece. So, making some good progress there. I really love her. I love working on her. And I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. All right, so I'm going to put that in my pile of things to talk about later. Oh, I wanted to take an effort to show you guys what these are supposed to look like. So this is the one that I'm working on here. My aim is to keep this bathroom clean. Your aim will help. This was my first August ABCs piece that I managed to get 0 lettering done on, which I think is somewhat ironic. So that's that. Okay. So that was my Wednesday and Thursday. And then on Friday, let's see, I had to work Friday night. And the reason that I didn't get anything done on my actual Friday project is that I was working on my August ABCs project. And again, I will talk about that in a little bit. And then I just had zero interest in picking this piece up. I mean, I'm just not interested in it. I really need another Wine and Whips because this would be like the quintessential Wine and Whips piece. So the project in question is Be Thankful. Live, love, laugh, be thankful. Beautiful, beautiful autumn piece. I love the piece. I just can't stand the fabric. I'm not comfortable on Aida anymore. And it's enough to make me not want to work on it. So I'm going to show it to you, but again, and I think I had the same situation last week, but I got nothing done on it. So, say lovey. That's another one to talk about later, because that is my 4th August ABCs piece. Okay, Saturday, I had to work Saturday morning, and I didn't end up getting home until like 6 o'clock at night, which, that's not fun. But, you know, that's life. Gotta put in the work. As a grown-up, had to do adult things. So anyway, on Saturday I was to work on my Box of Delights, and this is a freebie stitch-along from Liz Almond. You can find it on blackworkjourney.co.uk, and the original pattern is 6 suites by 6 suites, so 36 altogether. I am doing an abbreviated version, and I am doing mine based on Harry Potter. So I'm calling this the Bertie Bott's Box of Delights. So here is where I got to on this one. So I basically did the second row of suites. And the reason that I was able to get 4 suites 99% done. There's one aspect of these that I haven't gotten done. The reason I was able to get so much done is that I stopped caring about it actually being black work, and I just completed it using backstitch. I tried for the top and for the first 4 suites to really try to make the back look exactly like the front, and it took too much time. On top of the fact that I'm working with variegated flosses, it's so much more work than I really, no offense, care to put in. It made me not want to work on this piece. And so by switching to this more backstitch approach, I was able to really get some good stuff done. So let me walk you through the suites here. I'm going to first tell you what each of these suites represents, and then I'm going to show you the colors that I used to stitch them. So this row here represents the animals that belong to main characters in the Harry Potter series. And so first we have Hedwig, and it's going to be hard to see that, which in hindsight I really wish that I had done this on a darker fabric, because of course Hedwig she's a white snowy owl, so this floss doesn't show up very well. But I am going to leave it. There is a tiny detail that needs to be added to this, and I think I'm going to do it using a petite treasure braid, either PB10 or a silver, to accent that and try to help bring it out a little bit. So that's that. And then the second one is Scabbers. So pink and grays. Really like that black. I thought that one turned out really pretty. And the accents, the 4 little stars there, are done with the $37.99. Actually, none of this is actual black work. I'm not using black in this piece at all. The parts that look black are the deep gray, the $37.99. And then this one here is Crookshanks, who was Hermione's ginger cat. And again, accented with the $37.99. So really that looks more like a Halloween block than anything. But I like it. I think it's pretty. And then the last one there is Trevor, which was Neville's Toad. And I think that that is probably one of my favorite of the patterns for the highly variegated colors. I think that that one worked out really well. The colors played out really nicely. So my black work is done in $37.99. Nice deep dark gray. One of my favorites of the DMC colors, actually. Hedwig is done in Moe's Sale Frosty, and on the bobbin you can see the grays a lot more than you can see in the stitched up bit. But it's just whites and grays. That's Frosty. Scabbers is done in Moe's Sale Hagrid, and these are all the cottons, by the way, they're not the silks. So this is Hagrid, aka Scabbers, which I think is ironic. Hagrid the giant is now Scabbers the rat. It works, I guess. Crookshanks is Moe's Sale Cotton in Fanta. Not very variegated at all, which worked out really nicely for that patterning, because trying to keep track of the patterning in a variegate on that one would have been complex. And then my very first Fiberlicious, Trevor, is in Quiet Stone. Very toad-like colors, yeah? So that's that one. And so those are... that's that row of Box of Delights. The third row is going to be miscellaneous items, and then the bottom row are going to be main characters. I am debating back and forth on whether I should do... I have Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Of course, have to have the trio. And then there's the fourth one, which I thought originally I was going to do Voldemort. But now I'm thinking that maybe I should switch it up to Neville. Since I did Trevor, maybe I should switch it to Neville. Or that Quiet Stone could represent Nagini. Anyway, it'll all play out. It'll all work out just fine. See, the trick is coming up with colors for Neville. I thought about doing it like in those bright blues based on the PJ suit that he was wearing when he stood up to Harry and Hermione for leaving, for trying to sneak out. So anyway, enough rambling about that. That's a decision that I'm going to have to make. That's my Box of Delights so far. Loving it. Okay. All right, and then on Sunday, and every Sunday until I get it done, I am working on Summer Still Life by Perman, and this was out of the Just Cross Stitch June 2015 issue. I do not have what this is going to look like because it's on my digital subscription of Just Cross Stitch. I'm also sharing this fabric with Stretch by Teresa Wensler, but you know, hey, that's all right. So this is where I'm at. And so what I accomplished yesterday, I did quite a bit yesterday, because Sundays are my big stitchy days. So what I accomplished yesterday, I've had the darkest orange to do in this flower here, and then I did the handle, I did this leaf, this little bit of this last flower up top here, and then I did this whole flower. So I got quite a bit done, all things considered. I still feel really strange about the colors, particularly in that vase there, but I'm sure that once I get it all in there, it'll all work out. So that is my Summer Still Life, and this is for the Cross Stitch and Discuss Freezing into a Puddle challenge. So, dun, 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 dun. That's that. And so those were my WIPs for the week. Okay. So then I am going to reserve August ABCs at the end so that we can talk about that all together. So then, now let's talk about my next WIPs. I'm so excited for this week, you guys. Last week, I felt like there were a couple of projects that I wasn't so excited to work on. Everything this week that I want to work on, I want to work on. I'm so excited. So, project number 1, and I have done some stitching on this already, so you will notice a difference from last time that you saw it. And forgive the crease in the middle. This is, let's see, can you see all that? There we go. This is my elephants from Jane Netley Mayhew. This is a project that I have set for a high priority, so I get 3 days with it. So excited. And what you see there is not just a blob of grays and browns and even some green browns, but that's actually the top of the baby elephant's ear. So I'm going to show you the pattern, or the picture of the pattern here in a second so you can understand where I'm at. So that's the progress that I've made. Set it there. Stay. Okay. Alright, and then my elephants coming out of this book here. This is the Jane Netley Mayhew Cross Stitch Safari. And this is where I'm at. So over here, let me get myself oriented. This is the baby elephant's ear in here, and that's where I'm working. That's where I started. Love this piece. Oh my goodness. I love the linen. I love the colors. I love the color play. I love how realistic it's already looking. I'm just so excited about this piece. I swear, if I wasn't so committed to so many other projects, I would drop them all to work on this one. But of course, you know, I say that about several of my projects, which is why I had to come up with this priority-based rotation, because it just makes sense for me. All right, next on Thursday, because I'm working on this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm working on the elephants Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, I have my Ellen Moore-Stroh Flower of the Month sal. It's not really a sal, it's really just I'm stitching the flowers. And this is a low priority, so it gets 1 day. And this is January. And I'm looking forward to seeing some progress there. Very pretty. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Monday, because I've got my Sunday rotation, or my Sunday project in and of itself, so high priority Friday, Saturday, Monday. Another one that I'm in love with. My Chatelaine Frosty Knot Garden. And I think I am going to continue working down there in that corner. Try to finish that corner up and maybe even get that one done, so I can finish up the part. This is a piece that I would love to be able to finish this year, but with how fast the months seem to be going, does anybody feel like each month is faster than the last? I feel like August is already over, and I just remember thinking, man, I can't wait for summer. So anyway, I don't know that I'm going to get this done this year, but I really would like to give it my best all effort to try to get it done, but we'll see. So there's that. And then, of course, on Sunday, I have my Summer Still Life, which I showed you earlier. So those are my next WIPs, only 4 WIPs this week. Pretty exciting. Looking forward to seeing some progress on these. Okay, this is going faster than I thought it was going to. So let's talk about August ABCs. August ABCs is put on by the Facebook group Stitch Maynia. It is a month-long themed stitch-along where basically you work on something with lettering. The Katie method is to work on 4 projects during that month. Each one gets a week or a designated amount of time, and each day you work on that project for an hour and then you switch to something else. Loved this. I love this method. It's wonderful. but I'm running into some snags. So let me steal a sip real quick before I start coughing. Okay. So this week, my August ABCs piece was a new start, and it's My Big Toe Designs Normal Family. So, looks like this. This is stitched in 100% crescent colors. And it is stitched on 28 or 32 count Jubilee in antique white. So, awfully boring. And so this is what I've gotten done. Now, you're all saying to yourself, Josh, you should have had 7 hours. There's no way that you got just that little bit done in 7 hours. And you would be correct. I stitched on this for maybe 3 hours if I'm overestimating. I mean, I really did not put in the work on this that I should have. On, let's see, the day of the interview, I didn't pick this up at all. On Saturday, I didn't pick this up at all. On Sunday, I didn't pick this up at all. The days that I did pick it up, I was so distracted. I did not put in the work on this as I should have. And the reason for that is that I'm already bored. I feel like this is just not the piece that I thought it was going to be. I'm just tightening this up because I see those creases there. Well, anyway, it's not really worth the effort there. Okay, so like I said, this is stitched entirely in 100% Crescent Color Works. This one here is Wavy Navy, and you can see there's barely any variegation in it. So I'm taking all of this effort to be sure that I stitch every X completely before moving on to the next one. And I'm not getting any variegation. Like, I'm doing all of this extra effort for effectively a navy blue. And yeah, I mean, you can see it when it's up close. You can see that there is a tiny bit of variegation. I think this curly Q of the R here, I think that it lightens up just a tiny little bit for 2 or 3 stitches. Let me see if I told you that right. Yeah, but it probably didn't translate very well on the computer because I had to look for it. It's just not as much fun as I was thinking it was going to be. Lettering is, it's fast in and of itself because the design elements are really just the letters. But I don't know. It's just not as much fun as I was hoping it would be. I work in lengths, so I cut off a length of the floss to stitch with, and I've already gone through my first length on just that little bit of the Wavy Navy. The other issue that I'm having with it is that all of the wording is the same color. The interest is so not there. Everything is that color with the little pops of color in the flowers. That's the only change in color that we have in this whole piece. So I think that honestly, this is going to be one of those pieces where I make some changes. I've talked about it before, but I'm not really one who makes changes in my pieces, but this one, it's not ticking any boxes for me. Of course, I like working in the Jubilee. I like working with variegated flosses. The purple has some subtle variation to it, but I have to kick up the interest in this piece a lot more. This is another one that would qualify for Wine and Whips because I'm not really all that excited about it. So then I have this issue because I'm supposed to be working on Be Thankful, which is this one. I'm supposed to be working on this one this week for August ABCs. And this is another one that I'm just not excited about. Again, I love the piece. The fabric, it hurts me to work on. I just don't enjoy it. And stitching for me is such a valuable, important time for me. My stitching time, Danny and I have gotten in arguments and I don't mean serious arguments, I mean minor things, but like if I don't get my stitching time, you know, I'm kind of ornery. And so because it's so valuable to me, working on something that I don't want to work on, inevitably what happens is I put on a tantrum and I'm just like, I'm not doing it because I don't want it. Well, great. You know, that doesn't really help. I want to finish these pieces because these, I think I just stumbled on it. I think I just figured it out. Okay. I am a process stitcher. I love to stitch for the process of it. I love spending that much time with a piece and watching the piece grow. I love the act of stitching. It's so therapeutic and meditative. Knitting, I am a product knitter. I knit for the finished thing. The act of knitting is not as calming as stitching is. I knit for the finished object. These two projects that I'm talking about here are projects that I want to finish for the product, not for the process. So I think that that's why I'm struggling with wanting to work on these, because they're just not meeting the criteria that I need for spending that much time with a cross stitch piece. Which is why the Katie method is so perfect for these pieces, because it's just an hour. It's just an hour. It's like less than a Katie video. It's less than a Jessie Marie video, usually. This one's going much faster than they normally do. I don't know what's going on. I hope that you guys are keeping up. I hope it's not me talking so fast. Let me know. If I was talking too fast in this video, just let me know and I'll try to slow things down. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So maybe what I need to do is just buckle down and just work on this piece for August ABCs like I said I was going to. Or do I switch to an ABCs piece that I like? Because I like this one. I like this piece. It's a lot of fun to work on. I like the colors. I like the fabric. So help me out here, guys. What do I do? Or do I work on this because I didn't get my 7 hours in on it, and so I really need to do that? Which one should I work on? I've decided that I'm going to forego August ABCs stitching for today, and then tomorrow, based on your votes or based on what you say or your advice, I'll go with that. So what do you think? What I want to work on, what I said I was going to work on, what I didn't work on. What do you think? All right. So that's my August ABCs chatter. September is September specialty stitches with Stitch Maynia again. And I am really excited about that because the 4 pieces that I have picked are projects that I really want to work on, that I'm really excited about, and that I'm sure I'm going to get some good progress on. And I'm not going to run into this issue. I think that for the future, I need to be picking pieces that I'm excited about. Pieces where that hour is going to fly by and I'm going to wish I had more time. Because otherwise I'm going to run into the same rut that I am today. So thanks for listening to me ramble about all that and sort of work myself through those issues I was having. You guys are really good listeners, so thank you. Okay, so I've talked about WIPs, I've talked about my next WIPs, I've talked about August ABCs. Next, since we're only at 34 minutes or so, I think I am going to switch and do the stitching style tag. And I have the questions here somewhere. Are you there? Yes, okay. So this is the stitching style tag from Pam Reid. And I'm just going to get myself back together. Okay. We're going to play a quick game of 20 questions with Pam Reid. All right, question number 1. What is your favorite fabric? I think this will come as a surprise to no one. My favorite fabric is linen. preferably 32 count, but I do like 28 count cashel. Did I say that right? Yes, 28 count cashel. I also like 36 count Edinburgh. I also like 40 count. I like linen. A lot of people are put off by linen's unevenness and the slubs in it. I like that, actually. It kind of makes me happy. I don't know why, but I do. As far as color is concerned, I have boring fabrics. I have painted fabrics. I have hand-dyed fabrics. I've got them all. Color doesn't, it really depends on the piece as far as color is concerned, but my favorite fabric by far is linen. Hoop or frame? I own hoops, but my preference is Millennium, my Millennium frame. I'm not going to grab it because it's so heavy. Or Q-snaps if for whatever reason I can't use my Millennium. I think that there is one project that I have that I can't put on my Millennium because it's too wide to fit on the frame. Maybe two. Maybe I have two of those. Yeah. I have a 30-inch Millennium bars, so I have two projects that are wider than 30 inches. So I will use my Q-snaps for that because I like the tension. Hoops, I'm not a fan. I don't like the hoop marks, and I don't like the inconsistencies. So. Okay, question number 3. Do you use a stand or just hold your frame? I have a Ravelry stand that I swear by. If you are considering a Ravelry stand, floor stand, highly recommended. It's one of the greatest stands I've ever worked with, and I used to have an F.A. Edmonds. I've gone through 2 of them, if that tells you anything. And by gone through, I mean like I have worn them down to where the bolts just spin. They don't tighten anything down anymore. Part of that is because I was using them with my Millennium, and because the Millennium frame is a heavy frame, it wore down the bolts a little bit, quite a bit actually. But the Ravelry is wonderful. I use, let's see, I got the side clamp. I'm trying to think of the metal finish. I did not get the stainless steel. I can't remember what the other one was, but mine is not stainless steel. It's the alternative with the side clamp. And the side clamp works great with my Millennium frame. It works great with my Q-snaps. I have even attached a hoop to it just to see, just to test it out, and it works fine with that. I don't have any of the extra bells and whistles. I don't need them. With my stitching setup, it's not necessary. Sorry about that weird cut, y'all. I had to sneeze. Good timing. Okay. So, yeah. So that is my speech about stands. Love my Ravelry. I don't stitch without it anymore. If I can't take my Ravelry somewhere, then I'm not stitching. I'm working on something else. I'm knitting or I'm reading. I'm doing something else. Okay, question number 4. What is your favorite time to stitch? I am a morning stitcher. I'm a morning person, really. My favorite times to stitch is like 6:30 in the morning to about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Love stitching in those hours. If I get my coffee and I am, it's quiet in the house, send Danny off to work, settle in, stitch for a bit before I get my day going. My favorite time to stitch. As I talked about earlier, my work schedule is going to interrupt that significantly, and so we'll see. But I'm going to have to adapt, and I'm okay with that. But my favorite time to stitch is in the mornings. Do you use a printed paper copy of your chart or digital? One second. I prefer paper. I have my iPad. I use Goodreader. But if I can, I will print out my pattern. And the reason for that is that I use needle minders, first and foremost, for holding my needle. But secondary to that is I will sandwich my pattern on my fabric using my needle minder. And what that does is it means that I don't have to look very far you know, in between what I'm stitching and where my pattern is, so I can better keep track of where I am. I do use digital for if I have a pattern in a book. So like my elephants, I converted a picture of my chart to an image, to a PDF that I can use on my digital, on my iPad using Goodreader. And the reason I did that is that printing that, the translation wasn't really quite what it needed to be. And working with the big old bulky book and trying to hold it open, but I don't like to damage the spine. I just, it's easier to work on my iPad for that. Same is true for chatelaines. I will not be ordering a chatelaine from a printed version. So for instance, I know 123 Stitch will sell chatelaines, but the amount of detail that Martina puts into her designs, I need my digital version so I can zoom in on a particular area so I can see. She uses multiple colors for backstitching because she uses multiple threads for backstitching. A lot of times, though, the stitches underneath backstitching will get lost. Being able to zoom in on specialty stitch diagrams really helps. I definitely need digital for chatelaines. So on top of the fact that normally, like for instance, I keep referencing this over here. For instance, this part here, the center, was one part of the pattern, and one part is just smack dab in the middle of a regular sheet of paper. And if this were a printed version, I don't know that I would be able to get into the pattern to see really what I was supposed to be doing. You can see there's metallic back stitching over top of the stitches there. There's a bunch of different colors. It just would be too chaotic. So for me, if it works for you, then fantastic. Go right ahead. But for me, I have to have the digital, and so I will have to order directly from Chatelaine from here on out, which is okay. It's totally fine by me. Trying to think if I use digital for anything else. I don't think so. My HAIDs I print out. If for whatever reason I'm working on a huge one like my In This Moment, I will print out 5 or 10 pages at a time just to save on ink. But yeah, I prefer printed paper copies. Okay, are you a floss licker? Yes. I am. I purchased a needle threader from Heaven and Earth Designs. However, my preferred needle size is size 28, and that needle threader does not fit into a size 28. None of the needle threaders fits into the size 28s. So, yep, I am a floss licker. Do you hoard or buy supplies as needed? Let's see. Threads, I typically buy supplies as needed. On occasion, I will order some extras just because I think they're pretty, but that's rare, to be totally honest. Patterns I hoard. You've seen my HAID video. I have lots of those. I have lots of other patterns that I've purchased over the years that I haven't done. As far as fabrics are concerned, I typically, it's sort of a mix match between the two. So like if I'm going to a craft store like Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby, I will, like if I'm going for DMC for instance, and I have a great 40% off one item coupon, I'm going to buy a piece of fabric. I'm not going to use that 40% off on one skein of floss. That's silly. So I'll buy a piece of linen. If I am, but beyond that, I typically buy what I need. Now, a lot of times I'll buy a piece of fabric with the intent of using it on one project, but then I don't start that project immediately, and so that fabric gets repurposed. So it's a hoarding, but with intent to buy as needed, I guess. You never know. So, yeah. Number 8, what is your favorite floss? Cotton floss, I guess DMC, if we're comparing like the brands like DMC or Sullivan's or Anchor, JP Coats, whatnot. DMC because it's most readily available, and here in the States, sorry to rub it in anybody not in the States, but it's cheap. And I can find it just about anywhere. As far as specialties, I really like Dinky Dyes and Gloriana. Those are my favorite silks that I have ever worked with. I like the Gloriana feel. I like the colors that Dinky Dyes puts out. Those are my favorites as far as specialty flosses, specialty threads are concerned. Number 9, are you a serial starter or do you have a WIP at a time? I'm going to let you guys answer this one. If this is your first time viewing, then my answer is I am a serial starter. I have lots of projects. I have 23 currently. At the end of September, I will have 24. At the end of October, I think I'll have 27. Yeah, I'm a serial starter and proud of it. I tried the WIP at a time and I got bored. So, you know, if that tells you anything. Do you have more FFOs or UFOs? This question, I've seen people do this tag, you know, for months now. And this question always makes me think because it really depends on what you consider a UFO. I would consider a UFO a project that I haven't worked on in a year. And so I guess that I would say that I have one UFO because I don't think that I've worked on my Autumn Owl from Heaven and Earth Designs in a year. Other than that, I just have a bunch of WIPs. As far as FFOs are considered, I have maybe a handful of FFOs. I have far more finished objects not fully finished than either of the two combined. So I have a drawer of finished objects that haven't been fully finished yet. So yeah. So question 11, do you watch TV while stitching? Not really. I watch FlossTube while stitching if I can. If I'm working on a digital pattern, then I don't watch FlossTube while stitching. I am more inclined to listen to music while stitching than watch TV. Yeah. Do you mostly stitch alone or do you ever get together with someone to stitch? I mostly stitch alone, and the closest I've ever gotten to getting together with someone is a hangout, which is a virtual get-together. I get together with the ladies from Cross Stitch It's Fun, and gentlemen, there's a couple. Yeah, we get together on Hangouts via Google. So, but I have never gotten to stitch physically with someone. Number 13, do you like to experiment and alter things with your charts, or do you stitch them just as written? Typically, just as written. I am a person who follows the rules, usually. I have experimented, most notably my Gigi, and by Nora Corbett, and my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery by Brie Friends sampler. I made some changes with those. I'm trying to think if I've made any changes. I mean, the most changes that I will make is I'll do the skin 1/1. And I have been known to replace French knots with beads. But beyond that, I don't change a whole lot. Number 14, do you bobbinate floss or not? I will bobbinate my DMCs. You saw previously that I had some of my Mose Silk Cottons on bobbins, and that was really just for convenience sake for while I was stitching. I actually store those in yarn butterflies, in floss away bags. So, and then my projects, I don't work from bobbins on my projects. I will pull lengths off of my bobbins if I'm working with DMCs, or I'll pull lengths off of my butterflies if I am working with non-DMCs. Number 15, do you start a project in the middle of your fabric or at the corner? 90% of the time, in the middle. It's easiest to find and easiest to organize. However, if I'm working on a piece like Heaven and Earth Design, top left corner. If I am working on a piece like Box of Delights, again, top left corner. I stitch where I have the smallest amount of counting to do in order to get started. I'm an opportunist in that way. Number 16, do you have a WIP rotation? Yes, I do. It's kind of complicated. It's priority based. I have listed all of my projects out alphabetically and given them a priority ranking. And I work my way down that list. Low priority gets 1 day. Mid priority gets 2 days. High priority gets 3 days. And so I work through my WIPs that way. This is a new thing, developed only a week ago. So far it's working great. Number 17, do you use a timekeeper to keep track of how long it takes you to complete a project? This is funny. I tried. I am such a numbers girl that I like to know these things. I like spreadsheets and I like organizing that way. So I thought that I would just give it a try. But rather than attaching it to a cross-stitch project, I tried it with a knitting project. And I downloaded the same timekeeper that Carolyn Mazzio uses. And I really liked the setup. Really wonderful. Clicked start, started knitting. Not a problem. Finished knitting, moved on, went and had lunch, went to work. 2 days later, I remembered, oh yeah, I never logged off. So I tried it again, started over completely. Same thing happened. I forget to hit stop or pause. And so I can't get an accurate reading on how much time it takes me to do a project because I forget. I do start dates, and I usually base my start dates based on Instagram because I use Instagram the most. I also have a little notebook where I write in projects and maybe some changes that I've made, and as well as start and end dates. Yeah, that's about it. But I don't use a timekeeper because I can't. Do you use the parking technique? Kind of. I use what I call, and I've said this several times, but I use what I call parking across country. I don't park in the sense that I work in a 10 by 10 block and then I work in the next 10 by 10 block and then I work in the next 10 by 10 block. I work, if I'm doing one of these full coverage patterns, mind you. I start with the first color that I run into and I carry that symbol all the way down the column. So it's 10 stitches across, and on a Heaven and Earth design, for instance, a full page is 98 stitches deep. And so I will carry that color as logically as I can down that column. I have rules for when I'm doing this. I'm still trying to work out logistics for recording my process, but yeah. Eventually, I would like to explain that to you. My mini pearl is sitting over there. That's why I keep looking over there. If I'm working on a design that's not full coverage, then I don't use the parking technique. It's not necessary. Do you keep your orts? I meant to bring my jar here, but I didn't. I do. I don't do anything with them at the end of the year. I just toss them out. But I like to keep them all, and then I will mash them down when I'm switching projects. And it makes this pretty effect. You can see the projects that I've worked on based on the colors that you see in there. It's kind of fun. But other than that, I don't keep them. It's really just for a year, and then they go in the trash. And then lastly, number 20, do you like to have a snack or drink while stitching? Snack? No, I don't eat while I stitch. I will leave the room completely, and I'll go eat if I need a snack. As far as drinks are concerned, however, I'm a bit of a daredevil. I drink my coffee. I have had an adult beverage while I was stitching. Sodas, water, drinking, I don't have a problem with. I'm very careful. I'm not like actively drinking while stitching. It doesn't happen. But I do have a drink close at hand. I get thirsty. It happens. So that was the stitching style tag. Whoo! Thanks, Pam, for putting that tag out. That was extensive. That answered a lot of the questions that a couple of them are sprinkled here and there on different tags, so that's pretty cool. And that's all I've got for you guys today. I do have my giveaway coming, I promise. I actually have the rest of the material sitting in my mailbox right now, but I didn't grab them before this video, so that should be coming later this week. I also promised one or two of you that I was going to do my knitting updates, and so I am going to do that later this week. I think I'm going to do, well, I don't want to commit myself to that. I am going to do a knitting update this week, so be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, thanks everybody, take care, and happy stitching.